Okay. Alrighty. We are back. What are we chatting about here? SoCal 2 on the GameCube. Oh, okay. So I'm watching the Olympics so far. Uh, I watched a little bit of the Olympics. We've been watching it here and there. Uh, yeah, I watched the alpine skiing and the snowboarding. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I just can't get into it. Like there's some people who are so hardcore for it, and I don't know. It just doesn't interest. I mean, it's sports, so I have a hard time getting into sports as is. Uh, which isn't to say anything about people who do. Just for me, I don't know. In figure skating, curling. We don't get on our cable doesn't have the channel that shows curling. We're not getting. Uh, you see the Nomura design of the Joker? No, I have not. The Nomura Joker? No, no, not Momora. Nomura Joker. Oh, that looks interesting. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's super. Assuming I'm looking at the right thing here, that's like super anime. That's as anime as I've ever seen the Joker. Not much of a sports person. Yeah, I understand the appeal for sporting events, and there are some times where like hockey I can watch and be very into, but I don't know. There's just something about it that just I don't know. It just doesn't grab me the way other things grab me. And again, that's not to say anything for people who it does attract, because it is very interesting and exciting. All right, so I actually wanted to open up something for you guys here to give me a hand with something. Did the Joker have a pair of metal legs behind him? Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's it. That's the Joker there. Yeah, that's so anime looking. Um, but yeah, I wanted to open up something to you guys here. As you know, this is a brand new show. You know, this is only the fourth episode and the first episode where it has a name. So we're kind of happy about the fact that it's got a name. Um, so I wanted to ask you guys, what are the sort of things that you like to see in these kind of shows? Like, I just essentially what I'm going to end up doing is just this, which is just shooting the breeze, and we'll talk about some of the topics that have come up lately. Assuming that we didn't talk about them during the week. But what are the types of things do you like to hear? News, like news. Obviously, we're just talking about the current events, but we're not. This is not a news channel, so this is not this is not going to be a news stream where you tune in and you get all the best news and that's it. We're just going to talk about I don't know, whatever we feel like talking about for that day. Is guests a good thing? Like I've talked about that before, but I like the Q&A section, so I want to keep the Q&A section. I'm just not really sure. Everything's been done so much. So I it seems weird. Like I don't want to do the same thing everybody else is doing, but at the same time everything's been done, so I'm going to have to do certain things. The Q&A, I knew that I always wanted to have a segment for that in there. So the Switch Tyco is a thing, but it's only just been announced. Okay. I mean, obviously I'm just going through Twitter and or going through the chat here. What we want in this podcast, you mean? Yeah, kind of like just segments, I should say. What would you like? I want a regular small ASMR segment. How about trivia? Okay, trivia sounds like an interesting thing. I don't know if I would do a full trivia segment, but I would probably throw something in there every once in a while. Listen to some guests. Okay. Like to see Drunk Greg. No, you're not gonna see Drunk Greg. Working in some guests would be cool. A little show and tell with some interesting. That's an interesting idea, Squeak. Showing off some older stuff, just a little. I always feel weird about that because that turns. I don't want that to seem like, oh well, he's just showing off things in his collection. But I mean, as far as really, really interesting stuff, you're gonna run out of stuff really fast as far as my collection goes. I honestly like the idea of just picking a game every week and just not showing off, but just naming a game, and maybe you guys can go and play that for the weekend. Slow down. We don't want you getting too Ace. I am a long way from anything that looks even remotely professional on this show. I mostly, because let's face it, there's going to be some weeks where there's just nothing to talk about. You know what I mean? I'd sit here and talk about Black Panther, but I haven't seen it yet, so it looks great. I'm going to avoid the elephant in the room. You know what I mean? With the big topic of this week, I'm going to avoid that because that's a little too touchy of a subject. I like being able to enjoy your voice while doing gaming in the background. Well, that sounds like you want that ASMR segment that was mentioned before. A page turner segment where we looked at Nintendo Power, and it's just like show and tell, like, oh, hey, remember this on page 52? Like, ooh, as I pick up my Yu-Gi-Oh, my old Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Yeah, I just, I like to get an idea of what it is. I know what interests me, but I don't know what interests other people. You know what I mean? And I'm doing all of this because I enjoy it. So I'm gonna do whatever I feel like. I hate to say it like that because it sounds like I'm asking your advice, but screw you, I'm gonna do what I want anyway. But I am gonna do what makes me feel comfortable because I think that that's what people want more than anything else. When they watch a stream, when they watch an interview, when they listen to a podcast, what they want more than anything else is people who are comfortable just doing what they're doing. And the easiest way you can be comfortable doing what you're doing is by doing something that you like and that you enjoy in the way that you like to do it. Nerd culture before my time. Maybe do something like the Game Explain podcast. Yeah, I like the Game Explain podcasts. I wish that they were posting them. I didn't know that they were doing so many of those. And then, but they don't post them to YouTube, because that YouTube is definitely where I get all of that stuff. So here you said Metal Gear went on a tangent and maybe a topic of your interest. Oh yeah, retro gaming in stores. Oh god, retro gaming stores. That's another good topic right there in retro gaming stores. I sleep for 14 hours and here you are streaming. Oh, hey, Death Rider. Yeah, I just, I want to make something that is, first segment is a news story. You do 2 to 4 minutes. I don't do anything for 2 to 4 minutes. Let's see. During the childhood of Johnny. That's something I would probably discuss with Johnny about doing. That's what you started your stream in the first place, playing what you like. This is just the conversation side, because sometimes stuff happens and I really do want to I really do just want to talk about whatever's going on for the day, whether it's something personal, and that's the thing that, when I do the Q&A segments, especially, this is generally a subtle, Greg. This is generally video games, and in all honesty, it's all geek culture, but my focus is video games, so it's going to be focused on video games. But I have no problem talking about whatever else comes up. I'm quick to listen to what somebody else has to say, but that's just a little more difficult on here than usual, because it's just reading chat. But I love talking about different subjects, and I can probably just BS through everything, even though I don't like to. I would rather be informed about something. But all I can really do is I can tell you how I feel about a bunch of different topics, and that's really it. And I will make it known that whatever I'm saying is just my opinion on the information that I have. Oh, okay. You want me to talk about Johnny as a child? That's the way I read it. I read it super fast. It's like, I'm not going to talk about him as a child. Not without talking to him first. John's baby stories. Oh, you clip that? Oh god, yeah, 2 to 4 minutes. Yeah, so that's really it. I just, I like the idea of, especially in the beginning of shows, I love the idea of the fans sort of helping to shape what happens, and that's for anything. I always love that. I love the idea of, what was the game that just came out that they put? They did a video about it. Octopath Traveler. They had the survey after the demo was out. They had this big survey about the things that you'd like to see, the things that you want to change. They did a video a couple of weeks ago where they talked about the changes that they've implemented based on what they got in those surveys. That to me is amazing. I love that concept. I love the idea that a AAA company is making a game the way an indie dev would make a game, which is they talk to the people and they find out what the people want and they add these features in accordingly. Project Octopus. Viewer submitted topics. You know what, Squeak? This is viewer submitted topic. We talk about whatever comes up on chat. You will know my streams of law as I lay my memes upon thee. That was that's Mario 2517. Is that a Tanuki? Yes, this is a Tanuki Mario. He's set up facing the other way so that when I do my streams during the week, you see him there. There he goes. So we got him there. Put topic. Well, what I thought about doing was putting it out on Twitter with a special hashtag, and then I can look through the hashtags and figure out if we have topics that we want to discuss, which we can actually do right now if you guys have anything that you want to talk about, because I think that might actually just be a segment where I took that break a little while ago because I want to split the show in half, and so for the second half I think that's what I want to do. So for the second half, why don't we, since we started out with talking about stuff already, if you have something that you want to discuss in chat, you just put it up in chat, and then we'll talk about, anything that you might, not necessarily questions, but just topics that have come up, because I try and follow the news in video games and all, and geek culture, but I just miss a lot of it. I do know that Marvel is announcing that they're changing. I don't know if they're rebooting everything or if they're just changing the writing staff, which is going to ultimately reboot everything. That to me is exactly why I can't read comics anymore. I have trouble getting invested in, and I've talked about this before, I have trouble getting invested in comics, knowing that in a year or two they're just going to make everything I've read irrelevant. The deepest lore of how a kid became a squid. Well, isn't that like pollution and everything destroyed the surface world, and then eventually, which paved the way for sea animals to come up to land and eventually evolve into squid kids. I don't have Twitter. You don't have Twitter? Wow, you Squeak, I gotta be honest with you. Twitter's kind of the place to be. Oh, hey, Silver EX Lucky. Twitter's kind of the place to be in a way for me. Yeah, that rhymed. I was a Facebook guy, and I didn't think Twitter was necessary because I had status updates on Facebook. Twitter has a lot less nonsense advertising. The posts are in order that you actually will appreciate, and other than the crap, the crappy people who just spend all their time posting, political stuff and everything, and don't do anything else, I find it to be a much more friendly community. Like I said, it's a lot less ad heavy. Why is there Sage Cam? And by that I mean strapping a camera. Oh, Sage, yeah, we'll just strap a GoPro to him. Now let's talk about me. Okay, Chips. We'll find out what CST means. Taking a break from Twitter. Okay. Why would they announce Jurassic World 3? You know why, Awesome? Because you're talking about Jurassic World 3 now, aren't you? Which is stupid. It's let 2 happen first. Or do you have such low confidence in Jurassic World 2 that you need to build hype for 3 right now? Japanese spider crab. Oh God. Playing demos when they were. Oh man, I remember those days. You mean the days of the kiosk when the demo was in the store? They were glorious. How about the detail in what is it? Ancient Magus's Bride. I don't think I've seen that one. Watching any current anime? I'm probably laid back camp. I was watching My Hero Academia and Dragon Quest Builders happened. Which, by the way, I am currently halfway done the high school, and the roller coaster work has begun. So you can check those streams out every once in a while. I'll probably stream that from time to time just to show it off. Are there any other conventions you'd like to go to in the future? Any other conventions I would like to? Tons of conventions I would like to go to. PAX East eventually I want to try and get to, even though I have bad history with getting a ticket to PAX East. The East Coast stuff mainly, MomoCon, Dragon Con, stuff like that. Like I would just love to just keep going to conventions, to be honest. I don't have Twitter. I'm tempted to make one. Yeah, Twitter is just, I find Twitter to be a lot friendlier. And I also have a Pinterest account just because Pinterest is a great place for pictures and jokes and stuff like that. I'd say do a combo of Twitter. See, Discord I only use for here. I only use Discord for streaming. I don't check my Discord pretty much at all when I'm off of Twitch. What game series do you think would benefit from having multiple composers? Not Jet Set Radio. I think Jet Set Radio needs to nail down a style if they ever make another one and be done with it. Sonic probably should have single one person working on everything too. I saw a glimpse of news concerning Marvel. Yeah, hopefully it's the best, because I heard that their mainline series as a whole are not doing. Of course they're not doing well. No, they keep changing things up, and comic books are just. I don't know. I love comics. I love the idea of comic books, but they feel like they're going away. Where I think the problem with comics is that there were a lot of people who were reading comics because that's where they got their comic book fix. But now they're getting so many movies, they don't need to read the comic books. Why is there smoke coming out of your game systems? It's Steam. Codename Steam. Yeah. Which was not a bad game at all. I like that game. I just didn't play very much of it. Codename Steam. Like how? It's suggesting. Magical Girl shows. No. We didn't. I didn't skip it. Clearwater. I can't help it. There's a lot of conversation going on. Like I'm way up on the chat right now. I just now read your discussion. Your discussion comment. I can say so. You took it to PAX East. No, I don't think I'll be going this year. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's been a year. I feel like the gaming, the geek culture is hitting a peak. You know what I mean? I feel like we're getting to a point where I think everything has the same path. It starts out, maybe not a lot of people have heard of it. Only the people who are in the know are the ones doing it. Slowly but surely, it spreads out to everybody. It reaches a peak. People are either tired of it, or there's the people who get into something because they think there's a profit in it, whether, for whatever reason. When the peak happens and it starts to dip down, the people who are trying to make a profit get out of it. The people who are into it are just kind of tired of it and they want to move on to something else, and everything sort of dips back down. And I feel like that's what's happening to a lot of geek culture lately, is that video games are dropping down, video game prices are going down, interest in movies is there, but I know for me, there are tons of movies that I just haven't seen, and I'll just watch it when it comes out. Oh, hey, Homecoming. Dreamcast component cable. Is geek culture going to stop being cool? And we can go back to where... I don't know that I want it to go back to where it was before, where being a geek was considered a detriment, which it still kind of is. That's one thing that for as much as people have talk about how the culture is much more mainstream now, when you tell somebody that I've got a huge video game collection, or I love going to watch comic book movies, or I read comic books, there are still plenty of situations where you get the look of, but you're 30 something, you know what I mean? Like that still happens. So it's still not to the point where, you know, if you tell somebody that you like sports, they're usually, oh, well, that's a given. Like, you know, you like sports, and there's not a lot of disapproval in that. So I think that there's still a lot of disapproval in telling certain people that you like geek culture. The difference is now we're more likely to find someone who is either very into it or is quick to say, oh yeah, I've watched some of those Marvel movies, they're pretty cool. Hey, Chaos Gaming. Okay, well, so I'm sorry, Clearwater. Have a good one, and you know, always check the VODs. We're always back up on here. Can I send a YouTube link? It's relevant to the topic. Chaos Gaming, you can post. Do you have our Discord? If you have the Discord, I like to post the links in Discord. I know I can invest in a frame master. I don't think they're making frame meisters anymore. Yeah, I think they stopped making it. That's a shame too. Is that an upscaler? Okay, I just want to run via SCART or component cables. Gaming's going to be my hobby. Yeah, it's going to be my hobby for life. I am out. I am a scheme later. Okay. All right. I don't know what the I don't know what the scheme was for that. I don't know what that means. Is he saying that we're a scheme? I'm not really sure. And that's why we approved Michael B. Jordan, because he's very successful. Yeah, I've been seeing that picture, Spider, that he was saying that he wants to go to Japan and he loves anime. Is it a sub-only Discord? No. Regular Discord. Yeah, it's just a regular Discord. Nothing fancy. I may eventually make channels that are just for subs. You know, and then we can take a question or two. You know, I may do that later on down the line. I guess Chaos Gaming thought that's what we were. I don't know. Are there scams like that? Are there people trying to scam you for how does the scam even work for that? Right now I'm so confused. Michael B. Jordan is the weeb. He's the weeb that could and did. I used to be with it, but then before they changed what it was. Now what I'm with isn't it, and with it seems strange and confusing. I don't know if that kind of culture can go back underground. On another note, geek culture, should I say nerd culture? Yeah, I think it's geek culture. I like geek culture better. It's too broad. I prefer geek culture because to me, nerd always had to me academic implications. You know what I mean? Like a science nerd or something, as opposed to a comic book geek. That's what I always took from that. Yeah, so I always use geek culture because nerd culture was always what is it? There's a joke on SNL where they say, complete this phrase, may the force be, and then a nerd would say equal to mass times velocity, but the geek would say be with you. The only thing I hide from people are the numerous anime screenshots. Oh yeah, hide all the pictures from Facebook. I'm late, but hey, Ziego, nice show and logo. Thank you for the logo, and I hope the name isn't too weird. The only thing I have here we go. Nerd always meant to me. Laugh as much as you want. Well, my favorite explanation for that for geek, I should say. My favorite explanation was A geek is someone who loves something so much that all the details matter. And I always love that term. I always love that definition, because that's kind of how I use it. You know, science geeks have their own name. You know, that's where I say nerd. That whenever it's academics, that's where I say nerd. But then there's comic book geeks and video game geeks. There are sports geeks. You know, there are guys out there, you know, sports geeks, they're exactly the same. You know, we sit there and we talk about how sports, you know, we're not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan of sports, but, you know, I can understand somebody who is. And then I've heard people like, oh, sports are stupid. You know, who sits there and knows all those sports statistics? Yet, I can tell you the code to get to Mike Tyson and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. The game's 30-something years old. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, that's just kind of how it works. You know, when you love something so much that all the details matter, that to me is geek culture. You know, and it's just, you know, I'm a geek. I probably couldn't tell you everything there is to know about comic books, but I can tell you a bunch of nonsense about video games. But another geek will know comic books. You know, there are the book geeks out there. We call them, we used to call them bookworms. I don't think they call them that anymore. But they're the ones that's all they do is they read. That's more of a geek to me. For when I heard geek was more associated with someone who is an expert of tech. No, see, nerd to me was always academic, and geek was just, there's a lot of crossover. Obviously, there's a lot of crossover. There are tons of science nerds who were comic book geeks, you know, and vice versa. I want a geek girlfriend. Yeah, no, bookworms aren't even used ironically here. Yeah, I didn't think that they used that term anymore, and I never found it insulting or anything. I know that that's what it was always called. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. It was as insulting back in the old days as calling somebody a nerd or a geek was, which I'm glad we took that name back. I like geek. I wear that proudly, and I like that term, and I like when people insult me for it, because that's exactly what I do. Is I ask them, well, what do you like? You know, oh, well, I like this and that. You know, okay, do you love it so much that everything about it is interesting to you? Then you're a geek. You're just a geek for different things. You know, anybody who bashes Dungeons and Dragons and plays fantasy football, sorry, dude, we're different sides of the same coin. When E3 comes on and it's a sports game being showcased, that when E3 and when all of those happen and the sports games come on, that is bathroom time for me. Yeah, fantasy football, similar to an MMO. I am otaku. I don't know if I'd qualify as otaku just because I don't have that much time to watch so much of it. Nerd can be substituted with specialist. Yeah, you could substitute nerd with specialist. I get that. Fantasy football is like horse betting. Horse betting, I couldn't walk into a betting parlor or whatever you call it and bet on a horse if my life depended on it. I have no idea how to do it other than to say I want this one to win. And then I put first. Oh, see, Flipnote. That's where I mean, I put all of the mandatory stuff for. See, that's the thing. You don't have to shun all of your responsibilities in order to qualify as a geek or as otaku or anything like that. You got to face your responsibilities first. When you have free time, what do you do with that free time first? That's where you judge the kind of, because if we're going to judge it by what we do first, by our responsibilities, most of us are probably workaholics, and once we get a job, we're workaholics. But when you've got free time, what do you do with that downtime? That's when you start to figure out who you really are. What is that yellow alien like figurine on your mind? This right here, this is Derposaurus. This is Derposaurus Rex. This is our dinosaur buddy that we met a few years ago at Too Many Games. Betting on, it's like horse betting. Then I guess it's not as fantastic. I mean, having something to invest in is good. It allows you to forget the fact that the world is insane. Yeah, the world is insane. You will be considered otaku. Is that word? Yeah, okay. Then I wear it proudly. I wear that proudly. I won't wear a weeb. I won't wear that one proudly. That word unfortunately has devolved into very negative connotations. I like fanboy. I think fanboy is the same way. It's where there's a hard negative connotation around the word, so people are reluctant to want to use it. So I would never use that for myself. You never let a single label be. No one is that one dimension. Of course not. No, you get to be a lot of different kinds of people. And that's the thing. It's your prerogative to be whoever you want to be, however many different ways you want to be that person. But I think the opposite of that is also that if somebody does choose to be a single thing, to accept them for that, and at the same time understand. If somebody says, "Oh, I'm a hardcore video gamer," I'm pretty sure they've got other hobbies, but if it comes down to it, a majority of the time they probably want to play video games, because that's how I am. If I have the absolute spare time, I will most likely use it playing video games. But there are plenty of times where I've got tons of free time, and I said, you know what, Tuesday is a nice weather out. I'm going for a walk. I'll definitely do it. I'll do whatever interests me at the time. I'm a Nintendo fanboy. Come at me. See, yeah, I don't like the term fanboy, because fanboy to me insinuates that you believe that your company or your interest can do no wrong. You know what I mean? If you complain about a company doing something and then your company does it, then then it's fine. That's like a fanboy to me. That's why I'm not a huge fan of that word. Our friend on Twitter has been too busy with work. He hasn't had any free time and he wants to make changes. I think the idea is just to change Flipnote. I know it sounds weird, but you just kind of reschedule your time. Is really, I think the first thing you're gonna do with that Flipnote, look at what time he spends doing what, and try and reschedule things. Don't be afraid to schedule to portion out your time for specific things a little more regularly. Now give me my ASMR segment. My ears need massage. Oh wait, we gotta. Okay, all right. Here comes the ASMR portion of the show. This is where we don't honestly say anything very significant. Maybe we talk about stuff. Maybe we don't talk at all, but we just give your ears a little something to listen to. Relaxing. Now, let's move this right along as we strike a glorious, wonderful pose. There we go. Two-dimensional. We're two-dimensional people here. He was planning this. I had that window. I knew at some point I was going to play that song. So it just if you're unfamiliar with that. Now, what was the reference? If you're unfamiliar with that, that is from an anime called Sakamoto Desuga. It is, okay, hold on. It is, I'm going to spell it out for you here. Desuga. Just do a search for that, and it's hilarious. It's this guy that every scene that I've ever seen of the show, they're trying to do something to him. They're trying to mess him up. Like in the one episode, they take his desk. They take his desk so he has nowhere to sit in class. And the teacher says, is your desk missing? So but he always wins. Every time they try and screw him, he turns it into a positive, or he beats them out somehow. So the desk is gone. So he opens up the window and he's sitting on the windowsill with his book, and he's like, "Don't worry, teacher, you can go ahead." And he's just like, it's a glorious pose on the window. Like, that's what the show is just seems to mostly be about. Yeah, it's so ridiculous, and it makes you laugh all at the same time, and it's so great. That's why I had that music there. I gotta use this at one point, just for today. But yeah, if you get a chance, you can go to YouTube and just see compilations for that. It's so great. It's so stupid, and it's amazing all at the same. There was the one where they took the slippers that he's supposed to wear, and he doesn't want anybody to see him without them, so he jumps in a mop and bucket, like the one that's on the wheels, and he's rolling down and he's controlling it with the mop, and people just think that he's amazing. It's so great. But that music plays every time he wins out. That's the music that plays. I like to be with like-minded people. I accept elements. Yeah, that's definitely something to check out. That's going to be the theme music for a little while. Forever bound to the backseat. I like to be around uplifting people with a healthy disposition. Well, I hope that's what we're doing here. It's on Crunchyroll as the okay. So it's under Haven't You Heard? I'm Sakamoto. Okay. Oh, okay. That's why I tried looking just for Sakamoto and it didn't come up. All right. So what do we got? 434. So 434. So if you guys have any questions, it's time for the Q&A portion. Boom, boom, boom. Oh wait, why was that the NBC music? Why did I use the NBC music for that? Well, wait, I am an asshole though. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or anything that you wanna just talk about, I mean, obviously we're already doing stuff that we want to talk about, but if you have any questions or anything like that, did anyone clip that ASMR? Apparently, yes. So anyway, I just like it is a lot of Sakamoto Desuga. You play Radiant Historia? I did not play Radiant Historia. I'm picking up the 3DS version. I haven't played Radiant Historia. Is that the one that's on the Wii? It always looked cool, and then when I went to buy it, I think it was $40 or $50. So they killed me. Favorite Yu-Gi-Oh archetype? I guess is that monster type? I haven't played in so long. I know they changed some of the names. I was a Fiend monster guy for a while. Like I was running Dark Necrofear, so half of my monsters were Fiend monsters. But then I like to switch. I had half of my monsters were Fiends and half was other stuff, just to throw everybody off. I had one of those, like the decks with all the high level cards. Any games you're planning on getting this year? I wasn't planning on getting Dragon Quest Builder, and I'm hooked on that game. I don't think so. I mean, unless Metroid comes out, there isn't anything I'm planning to get. But I am definitely going to be buying stuff because it seems like a good year for video games. I put pictures of the crab. Yeah. Oh, the Japanese spider crab. That's a wild looking creature there. Well, what is the Look at that. It looks like it's like a daddy long legs, but a crab. Oh, it's I'm not too creeped out by bugs and stuff, so that it doesn't bother me as much. Maybe I've already talked about this before. What are your opinions on the importance? Oh, the importance of video game music is extremely important. Video game music often sets the tone. I mean, mute the video game. You know what I mean? Mute the video game and see what's missing. Try playing a video game with no music on, and it's difficult to have an idea for the tone, you know, or play a video game that's in a cave and then play something really lighthearted and see how it just doesn't make any sense. video game music sets the tone for the moment, and it probably more than anything else that the game then the game uses to do that. Lighting and stuff like that. All of that goes out the window if you change up the song. Have you been seeing? I have not been watching Dragon Ball Super. I just have too much stuff to watch. I watched a couple of clips here and there, but they're always out of order. Metroid and Dark Souls. Oh yeah, Dark Souls. I've never gotten to play Dark Souls, so I am kind of interested in Dark Souls 1. How far have you gotten into my? Oh, it's still like 10 or 12 episodes. I stopped watching it when I started playing Dragon Quest Builders, and now I'm building Dragon Quest High School, and I'm building a roller coaster. And that makes perfect sense, sort of, if you play Dragon Quest Builders. Now, King Shane, can I hurt my soul? Think I've seen a picture of the Japanese spider crab. Is this like hawk moth or something, or hawk wasp? If you find a picture, it's something like a hawk wasp, and I just remember seeing a picture. Like, what are you talking about? Tarantula hawk wasp. Yeah, look at that thing. Tell me that's not brutal. Some interesting love drama. Yeah, that's what we're all about here. We are all about the love here, or at least the acceptance. What was the last thing you saw in My Hero Academia? The villains attack the high school, and I think the students are about to fight back, or they just did fight back. I'm back. So, Uncle, what's your thought on Heathcliff? You mean fake Garfield? Even though Heathcliff predates Garfield by probably decades. Put a seagull between us. Dragon Quest High School sounds like a good idea for a spin-off. Yeah, I think Ted stopped by the stream yesterday. I think he thought that was a good idea. I'm done with other shows you're planning on seeing. I reckon Oban Star Race. Oh yeah, I watched a clip of that Oban Star Races. It looked pretty good. No, I think the thing I want to watch now is Space Dandy. I woke up early in the morning last weekend and caught an episode of that, and I thought that was really interesting. Ever gradually distancing myself from Spider, just like slowly easing away. Dragon Quest High School is probably a fan. It's got to be a fan fiction. I still want to watch Space Dandy. Yeah, I watched one episode of Space Dandy, and I thought that it was very, very interesting. Seen these hawk wasps before on the internet. Yeah, I saw a picture of them, and it said, "What would you do if you were ever bitten by a tarantula hawk wasp?" And the only comment I saw was, "A what?" You're blasting past the amazement that is the very name of the creature. You might as well just call it a scorpion burglar assassin or something. Believe it or not, the same Lyoko. Yeah, I gotta watch some of that stuff, man. I'm doing good this weekend though, because I took Monday off. I desperately needed a mental health day, so I took Monday off. So I got an extended weekend. So hopefully I'll have some. Although Sunday I've got some work to do, but hopefully I'll have some time to get some of these shows in. It's stupid Dragon Quest Builders, man. If you guys haven't played that game, go play the demo of it, man. It's kind of addictive. Dude, Magical Circle Guru. It's basically Dragon Quest, the comedy anime. Oh, that seems. Ooh. I like the Dragon, because I saw. Oh, you know what I found that I still have? I bought I guess it's technically a bootleg, but there was never an American version of it. The Dragon Quest anime. I have the first season on DVD. Forgot to put Dragon Quest Builders on my list. Yeah, it's a good game. Lyoko. There we go. Code Lyoko. I just saw a picture for that show earlier today, actually. I'm back now. I watched that too many times. Yeah. I mean, I'll save it for later. That one's going in the bank. Switch needs more demos. Yeah, I wouldn't mind more demos. I do. I like demos. I like a good demo. That's that. I think the demos are for a while there. I think they were like the lost art. You know what I mean? Like I feel like nobody wanted to focus on them. So I like the idea of being able to check them out. I like the where you save it and then playing the demo offers you something when you play the full game. I kind of dig that. I always thought that was a pretty cool idea when they first started doing that. What I don't, I can't say I don't like it. Where the demo is the first part of the game, and then if you buy, Fatal Frame 5, they technically they're called play to start or free to start, where you can download the first part of the game for free, and then play it, and then if you decide you want it, you pay for it, and then your progress continues there. There was a game called Wakfu for the Xbox. I don't know if it was on Steam or not. That did the same thing. It was free to start. And then if you decided you wanted to buy the game, when you buy it, your demo just continues into the game. I need to collect more PS1 demo. Yeah, those things go for some money, man. What were they called? Jam packs. They were the PlayStation Jam packs. Every once in a while, I see people selling some of those, and they try and get a couple of bucks for them. Headshot Specialist. I like your stream. Thank you, Headshot. I appreciate you stopping by. And hello, by the way. Yes, I watched Fierro. I forgot I was going to call you Fierro. I watched that cartoon. It's okay. A French made cartoon, which I thought was very strange. I haven't watched too many French shows. French created, not a show about French maids. Thank you for the follow, Headshot. Yeah, because that sounded like a show about French maids. Yeah, it was a good game. I never paid for it. I forgot about the jam packs. Yes. yeah. Wakfu is on. It was on Netflix before. I don't know about Kobayashi. Oh, Dragon Maids. Dragon Maids, I think, interested me at first. But when I saw a lot of the stuff around it, and I think that sort of drew me away from it. So I'll watch it at some point, but I'm not going to race towards it. If I have the spare time, I'll probably just watch Your Name again before I will try an episode of it, which was amazing. Your Name. Concerning Heathcliff, do you think Cleo looks out of place? Yeah, she did look a little out of place in that old cartoon. But I guess there really wasn't a place for her. The Hobbit would be a different book if that thing was in Middle Earth. If that was a thing in Middle Earth. My Smurf sweat is all gone. Now I have to just switch over to regular water. Stay hydrated, kids. Best interest, never let a fandom ruin anything. Fandoms are unfortunately, fandoms can, depending on the situation, fandoms can be poison for a thing. I think the most obvious example is always going to be for right now. The obvious example is always going to be Rick and Morty, where the fandom makes you hate it so much that you don't even want to try the program. You just kind of have to try and lock it out. It wasn't, you know what it was with Dragon Maids, it wasn't the fandom, it was the cringe factor. And it was because of that, what's her name, Kana, the small one. There's way too much Rule 34 for a character that small. I didn't see that much. No, yeah, Rule 34 is the one I'm thinking of, right? The porn rule. It was way too much of that stuff. I didn't see that much stuff for what's her name from No Game No Life, and that character was actually 12. Steven Universe. Yeah, Steven Universe had you know what though, with Steven Universe I battled through the toxic fans and eventually found some really good fans and eventually discovered an amazing show. When did you start? My Hero Academia fan art. Oh boy, didn't know the fan. Mendez, yeah, the fandom can be kind of bad with Rick and Morty. The whole sauce thing from last year. It just they're a bunch of. I've met a lot of those fans who are well, you just don't understand it. You know, it's more. There's more going on than you think, and it's like, no, it's gross. It's gross out humor. I get that you probably see more into it, but it's gross out humor. If it had something important to say, it would say it in a less gross way to not alienate people. To be fair, for any fan art, yeah, I don't think there are too many fandoms out there that don't have a disturbing amount of Rule 34. Undertale was overhyped. Undertale was overhyped, but I never had a problem with the fans. I never felt like people were being snobby. I just thought it was kind of overhyped. I stopped watching Steven Universe. Go back to Steven Universe. Depending on where you stopped it, it gets a lot less fillery the further you go into it. So it cuts right to the chase. I don't like the other people who judge a show by. I don't judge a show by the fandom, but I have a problem joining a fandom when I see how the fandom behaves. You know, it's the idea to me of I like this show and these are what the people who like this show act like. Yeah, the show itself might be super awesome, but it's just a mental thing to me. I don't think it's fair to create. Oh yeah, and you know what, Aqua, that is the number one problem that I have with toxic fandoms is that these shows get defined by the fandoms, and then the creators have to put up with this crap. Japanese Voltron. Every fandom has two sides. Yeah, I want to believe that, and then there's some of them that I just see too much. Too much of that poisonous fandom. The Dragon Ball fan. I don't see the Dragon Ball fandom again. Is one that I never had a problem with them. Other than the shonen fans who think that that's all there should be. Other than that, I don't really get too much of too much of a poisonous atmosphere from Dragon Ball fans. And yeah, to me, it's just a lot of I think it's just a lot of the shonen fans tend to be younger, because if I meet an anime a Dragon Ball fan or even a shonen fan from my age group, they're usually pretty mellow about it. Like, yeah, I dig it. You know, that's probably my favorite one. It's the younger ones where it becomes obnoxious, and that's me getting older. That's as I get older, I transition from SpongeBob into Squidward. I remember when Sonic fans were considered the worst. Suppose I'm lucky not know anybody who is extreme. Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't think I know anybody who is hardcore extreme into a specific show. Maybe a type of anime. You know, somebody who watches mostly comedy and stuff. Somebody who watches the more of the slice of life stuff, but will still watch other things, but will focus mostly on that. You know, for me, I love comedy anime, but I'll watch a romance anime. I'll watch an action anime. I have no problem with it. The only thing that alienates me is 600 episodes. Every fandom has its trash. The internet, you know what, Ace Trainer? That is the truth for everything. That is the truth for everything. Everything out there has trash people, but the internet makes their voices heard. It's mainly dub versus sub group. I can't believe that they're still fighting about dub versus sub. 20 years ago, that was a legitimate fight because dubbing was awful, terrible voice acting. Nowadays, it's professional grade voice acting. So I don't understand why that argument is even a thing anymore. The winner is manga. Manga where my shelves will be weighed down so much. I am the trash of the USG fandom. Yeah, the Uncle Silver's tarnished gamers. I go for dubs because and you know what? I go for dubs because when I have to read the subtitles, I can read the subtitles and watch the show, but I'm able to focus more on the story if I just have to listen to it. And that's the way it is. You want a fun fandom? Transformer. I'm a Transformers. Whether it's Pokemon or Transformers, I'm a Gen 1er. When it comes to a show, I think most people watch it for the reason they're interested in joining a fan. Yeah, the fandom is definitely second. You know what, Aqua? The fandom is second unless you don't watch the show for very long. You know, if you take too long, the fandom will rear its head. You know, if you watch Rick and Morty season 1, if you were there if you were watching it when season 1 was going on, obviously there wasn't a huge fandom to make everybody feel alienated. But the longer you go on, the more you're going to see the fandom before you see the show, and then the fandom becomes, and that's exactly what it is. The fandom becomes your first impression of the show. And when I say poisonous, that's what I mean. That when somebody decides, hey, I want to get into this show, and the first thing they see are people rolling around on the floor with their t-shirts over their heads because they can't get Szechuan sauce, that puts it in your mind. That's poison in your mind that says, I still want to watch Rick and Morty, but when I think about it, this is the guy that I picture. You know what I mean? And that's sort of the problem. Again, you judge everything by you doing it, watching it, and figuring out whether or not you like it. But before you're able to do that, you will get an impression based on what you see around it. You know, we mentioned sports earlier, and a lot of us are not really hardcore sports fans. If you're looking for a lunch table to sit at and you see a bunch of guys wearing sports jerseys, you probably don't sit there. They're probably super nice guys, but what you see on the surface is just not appealing to you. I wish people would mellow out. I mean, I love to debate. Oh, I love to debate. I love to debate, but I love to debate. That's it. I like to go back and forth. I don't need to be in a fight. I'm not trying to convince them of my side. If anything, I just want to say why I like what I like. There you go. When I debate, I want to say why I like what I like. I don't want to say why you should like what I like. Seriously, the only good joke about dub versus sub is the episode ProZD. You know what I need to watch from ProZD? The Weeaboo Police, was it, or the Otaku Police? I think it was Weeaboo Police. I need to finish watching that. There were only 3 episodes of it, and I only watched the first one, but it was hilarious. Subs first, and then dubs. Okay, that's interesting. Let's scroll because I'm way back here. If the voice quality is the same, yeah. If the voice quality is way higher than it ever was before. I watched the Toradora sub. I've seen pictures of Toradora. I never watched it. Soul Eater is a problem. I liked Soul Eater's dubbing. I thought that the Soul Eater dub was very good. People need to learn how to have proper debate. These days they want to, yeah, and that's exactly it. They want to say why. That's more discussion than debate. Yeah, and that's what I want to have, and that's what I think a debate should be. It's just or maybe that's what it is. I think a debate should be a discussion, and instead it's a fight back and forth to convince the other person of your side. It's like, I don't want to convince you. I like dubs better, and here's why. Oh, excuse me. 4:57. We need a chime for the end. We need like a timer to go off. Is Pro prominently? ProZD is awesome. He's so funny. That's a good point. I imagine there's some psychology in this. I guess for me, I can easily separate the fandom from the material. Oh yeah. Also, I tend to not encounter a lot of toxic fans due to actively. Oh, okay, yeah. I stayed out of anime because of a lot of toxic communities. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost isolated in a way, which is probably a good thing. Probably a good thing to be isolated from the fandoms. You get to enjoy it yourself, and then you get to seek the fandoms out later. Benjamin Franklin, Rules of Debate. Okay, that's interesting. I'll look that up, and then I'll carry it around on business cards so I can when people start arguing about things like dub versus subs or which video game system's the best, I'll hand it to them before we start talking. Healthy debates are like discussions. All right, but unfortunately, that is going to bring us to the end. I want to thank you all so much for stopping in. This has been awesome soft relaunch of the Silver Lining. I thought about adding a goofy catchphrase like the Silver Lining. You were told to look for us, and now you found us. You know, something cheesy like that. But yeah, I want to thank you all for stopping in. Again, follow me on Twitter at SilverGreg78. That is where I post updates. We do streams Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, typically from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern. And then I usually just play random games. I play Dragon Quest Builders for the last couple of streams. I have to get back to Dragon Quest 1. Yeah, unfortunately, it is over Flipnote. So I mean, you guys are welcome to sit here, hang out, and chat, and keep on chatting. If you're in the Discord, obviously the Discord is always there, always available to have a conversation. Hit me up on Twitter if anything ever happens, and that's gonna wrap it up. So thank you guys so much for stopping in again. Have an amazing night. Have a great weekend, and I will talk to you probably Monday. Have a good one.